Good evening. Welcome to this discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. This time we will take up the discussion about what we have learned so far about the Bhagavad Gita. Uh, for so many days we have been doing it, and what exactly we have learned about this. Well, and what are the most important things that the Gospel of the Bhagavad Gita tells us? So, by far, I think one word which last time we also discussed, that is yajna, sacrifice. And perhaps it is the major issue on which the Bhagavad Gita deals most. You see, this yajna or sacrifice is all about God, world, and works. Three things are important: God, world, and works. God, yes, we know something about Him. So far as we are discussing these scriptures and other things, it is presumed that we have some knowledge about Him. Yes, and our entire living is directed towards Him. Second thing, the world we live in, because we are leading our life here, and this life must be Godward. So, God, world, and works. We have already discussed that we cannot renounce works. Renunciation of works is not just possible. And we have to work. Then, where do these works lead us? Or we must ensure that these works in this world must lead us towards God. So, our life is a Godward journey. And Yajna, the sacrifice, deals with all these three. So, during the last thousands of years, man has been in the quest of that this eternal being which we call God. Well, many religions are there, many isms are there, so many things are there, and our mind, our human mind, just I mean, uh, it just takes possession of a fraction, then makes its own theories. There are many theories, there are many isms, there are many postulates, there are many philosophies. All these things are there. But still, our knowledge is fragmental. We are catching hold of just a fragment of the entire thing. Then we frame or we form our own opinions. This way, the things are going on. But if we think deeply, the entire this manifestation, this creation, is just a sacrifice. It is just a sacrifice of Him. He tried to be many, then He got involved in matter, in crude matter, and because His is a consciousness which cannot be bound, which cannot be kept limited, that's why it got evolved, thereby giving way to the entire creation. So, the entire world is His sacrifice, is His yajna. Then this nature that we have already come across in the Sankhya, that the Purusha and the Prakriti, this impersonal being above, and according to his orders or instructions, the nature works here. So all sorts of things we have learned. And in this entire world, in this entire creation, uh, man has some role to play. Because so far, man is the, most developed being or most developed creation. So he has a major role to play. But incidentally, what happens? This ignorance creeps in, has already crept in. And our ego is the seal of that ignorance. So out of ignorance, what do? We are just blinded. This, we just forget there is a supernal being here who does everything, who is in everything. And already we have dealt with that this everything is Brahma. And the Bhagavad Gita has accepted that. The Vedantic knowledge that everywhere, Brahma is everywhere. Because he is Akshara, immutable, and he is immutable. All the dualities are there. The things that are moving is there. The things that are not moving, that are still silent, is also in there. But sometimes our mind, out of our man, out of his egocentric attitude, he doesn't understand that. He thinks that I am doing everything. I am the doer. Not only the doer, I am also this. I mean, I can also, or I must get all the results of all the doings, of the all the works. I am the doer and I am the enjoyer also. The fruits I must enjoy. So in this way, what happens then? So nature, so he takes only those things that nature allows him. And sometimes he wants to own the entire creation, which of course he is not able to do. But sometimes he is creating such nuisances, man, creating such nuisances that perhaps this creation sometimes seems purposeless. And man wants that nature must do or nature must obey his orders. But it is not the case. Nature has her own role to play. She is doing her things according to some other's instructions. So, this is this teaching of the Sankhya. But then in the Bhagavad Gita, the sublimation, the thing, is the main issue. The whole thing is the man has to sublimate himself from the present conditions. He has to raise himself. Brahmisthiti, that we have discussed. So when everything is Brahma, then that Brahmisthiti must be there. But his ego is a barrier here. But yes, there are times, there are ages of enlightenment when man realizes that others have also selves. It is not I or me who matters the most, but there are others, there are other beings, and they have also to be equally taken care of. And whenever this mentality has crept in, there are ethics have been created. So ethical stage is also a stage in the evolution of mankind. So ethics were created, then religions were created. Altruism is a term which came into being, and No, 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 I don't want anything for my own selfish motives. There are other people also. Something has to be done for them. This is also a type of mentality. But here also, the ego still works. Maybe from the this, I mean, from a selfish movement, these things are better. A man motivated by selfish motives does some things, and the present status, or maybe if he wants to do something for others, it is better than that. But here also, ego still is there. So, and that is the reason why the Bhagavad Gita or the maybe the Sankhya also drove towards us to a state of naiskarmya, worklessness. Already we have discussed that, the worklessness. So, in the context we have already discussed that worklessness is not possible. It is not possible either by renouncing the works or abstention from works. You cannot run away from works. Works you have to do because nature is doing the works and we are a part of the nature, and being driven by nature's forces, we have to do certain works. So works you have to do. And again, Naiskarmya has to be achieved. And that is the reason why this yajna and sacrifice came into being. But the fact is, till our ego, our some desire inside, if they are still there, this Naiskarmya is hard to be achieved. It is very difficult to attain that. Then here the first condition is annihilation of ego. Annihilation of ego, complete annihilation of ego. The ego must not be there, not even a trace. So this is what called Naiskarmya. We can work, but ego will not be there. A complete, I mean, it is removal of ego. That must be there. Well, when another thing is that, so when we do some sacrifice or do this yajna, for whom it is there? Because we have learned that the entire creation is just a sacrifice. It is in both ways. It is a sacrifice by nature offered to him, and it is a sacrifice of the Lord, the Supreme, I mean, the Supreme or the Brahma, that is again offered to the entire nature. So it is a two-way process. The things that are moving and the things that are still, in both the cases, the same Brahma is there. Everything is there. Well, so inside us, Uttamam Rahasyam, the Bhagavad Gita is speaking of the Uttamam Rahasyam. That is all about this. The Uttamam Rahasyam is the supernal Lord, it is the God, it is the supernal being, it is the Supreme who is residing in everything. In everything. Kshara and Akshara. Akshara immutable and Kshara mutable. In both the things is there. The Purushottama. There is a chapter in the Bhagavad Gita and that is titled this Purushottama Yoga. That will come across. But Uttamam Rahasyam is that Purushottama, the Supreme Godhead, which is pervading everywhere. So that day we learned that yajna or sacrifice is just is a way of interaction between man and the gods. So there are gods, different types of gods. And when we offer sacrifice to them, as was in the case of the Vedas, or somebody believed that the Veda had advocated for this rituals, yajna, sacrifice, or whatever, and they are offered to these some deities, and where we learn that everywhere there is Brahma, the impersonal Brahma. So whenever something is offered to these deities, ultimately this offer goes to him, because these deities also are part and parcel of him. If that is the case, yes, and that is the real case. If that is the case, we must understand, or we must see that whatever we sacrifice, that must be directly given to him, that must be directly offered to him. And the second thing, suppose annihilation of ego is completed. We are able to do it, or we are able to do it now. So that impersonal Brahma is there. If annihilation of ego is complete, then the question arises whether we should do any work, because we have already attained Naiskarmya. Ego is gone, we don't have any attachment, desires also are gone. So, here in this case, have we attained, or we have attained Naiskarmya? Then, if that is so, after that, should we work? Whether we have to work or not after achieving this Naiskarmya. Because that was the ultimate point we have already discussed. And here, whether it is the end of the things, and the answer is a big no. No. Impersonal Brahma is there. Naiskarma we may have attained. But again, work has not ceased. Work has not ceased. Self-knowledge is there. Work has not ceased. Because we have to work to complete our own being. This being is not complete. It is with all sorts of imperfections. Well, ego is slain. That is all right. Ego is not there. But has work to be stopped? No. This work should continue. Then, what should we do? By works, we must complete ourselves. Suppose works are not necessary because Naiskarma has been achieved. If that is so, then Arjuna would say that yes. Arjuna would say that I won't work, because two options are before me. I may work or I may not work. If I work, I would work driven by nature. I am a Kshatriya, I would fight. And the second thing is, for me, I have already achieved Naiskarmya by my self-knowledge and doing all sorts of things, slaying my ego. Then I would rather take the sannyasa, and that would be better. And that will be better. Why? That will be better because there will be no mayhem, there will be no killings, there will be no war. So, I may participate in the war or I may not. And that doesn't matter to me at all. I don't bother about that because I have achieved Naiskarmya. Then he must stop working, he must stop participating in the war for which Sri Krishna was insisting. No, that is not the case. Suppose Naiskarma we attain, the impersonal Brahma we have identified, and the entire life, as we have already discussed in so many ways, that we must drive towards a union with Him. We must unite with Him because everything emanated from Him and everything is moving towards Him. And it is a cyclic process, the entire creation, the entire this universe is a cyclic process. Everything came from Him and everything would return to him. So if a great unison we are working for, and we must work in such a way that we will be united with him, then should we want that an incomplete unison with him will be there, should be there? Or the second option is we should complete ourselves and then unite with him. I think the second option demands that we should continue the work. And the second condition is the best condition. We must complete ourselves in everything, in every way. A fragmentary addition of ours should not be allowed to unite with him. It is not, and we should not extinguish ourselves, just merge with him and over. No. This humanity must be perfected and then it will be united. And that is his desire also, that whatever is there in the creation, in the universe, it must complete itself, it must perfect itself, then it will be united with him. And this is what is the meaning of sacrifice. This is what the meaning of real sacrifice, real yajna, to complete ourselves and then unite with him. So this discussion, we can say, we can give it a caption like this: the Lord of sacrifice. The Lord of sacrifice is the Purushottama. So everything must be sacrificed to him, because he is in fact in us and everything. So thank you so much. We will continue this discussion further.